we're gonna go ahead and get this 8-piece cut up. Always remember, put your gloves on. Sanitary is everything. You definitely don't wanna get that cross-contamination going. All right. So maybe teach you guys a little bit of butchering. And like I said before, when you cut it fresh like that, you keep everything intact. As soon as they start to cut the actual chicken breast, that's when it tends to lose its freshness. So always make sure you have a proper knife. So we have a 8-inch Wusthof chef knife. And we're just gonna get that nice and sharp. So the first thing you wanna do for an 8-piece breakdown is you wanna get the breast separated from the actual chicken breast. So as you see, they have that bone right in the middle of it. You basically just wanna go along the side of the bone without actually going into the meat. So we're just gonna start a little incision, and I'm just gonna kind of stick my finger in there to kind of figure out where the bone is. And I'm just gonna make little incisions, little slices, just like so, all the way through. And as you guys see, I'm being very careful not to cut too much of the meat away. And then once you have that, you're just gonna just kind of break it apart just a little bit so you can really get up in there. Turn that to the side and just go around the undercarriage of the actual chicken. And then you're just gonna keep cutting all the way through until you cut all the way through and you actually have your chicken breast. Just fold that skin over there just like so. And whenever I get a chicken breast, I always try and find a chicken breast that it doesn't necessarily have to be organic. You just want to stay away from those chickens that have all those added hormones, because those added hormones aren't good for the human body. And this is an Amish chicken breast. By all means, you can use whatever whole chicken breast you got at your local grocery store. This particular Amish chicken actually is farm raised, free cage free, to where they don't raise them in the actual cage, which is great because you want your food to taste good, and part of the food tasting good is how it's raised and how it's actually lived. So you got your 2 nice breasts, which we're gonna save those for another episode. So now that we have our actual chicken breast, now we're gonna go ahead and detach the wing. So with the wing, is very, very simple. You gotta just crack it, and as you can see, the bone's right there, then you can kind of just cut around the bone. So essentially, you never should be cutting through a bone. It's always should be just a nice, smooth cut. Just gonna work the knife around there, take that wing and kind of twist it over just a little bit. And then you should be able to cut straight through. Now you have your wing. I normally just take that little wing and just curl it over there, just like that. And you have your first wing. Go ahead and detach the second wing, give it that nice little crack, see where your bone is, and just kind of just work your way around. Now the first time you guys do this, it might not go smoothly, and that's okay. You know, it might take a couple of times, but practice makes perfect, right? All right, now we're gonna separate the actual leg. So all I do is just take a little bit of a crack, just like there, and you see how the bone's exposed, so now I know where my bone is, and I'm gonna separate that from the actual chicken. So now you have the thigh and the actual leg intact. Traditionally in the grocery store, they would call this a leg quarter. I know down south in Louisiana, we love us some leg quarters. This is how we eat a piece of chicken. So when Amon was talking about he wanted the big piece of chicken, that was the one he was talking about. So we're just gonna do the same thing with the other one. Give it that nice little crack and just go right along the side of the bone. So then what's cool is now that you have this carcass and it's still got a little bit of meat on it, a little bit of skin, this is what's gonna make for a nice, rich chicken stock. So definitely don't throw that away. So then to separate the actual drumstick from the thigh, it's very, very simple. You're just gonna go right where that split is and kind of just work your knife down. Once it gets down, I'm just gonna take my finger, you hear that little crack, and then I'm gonna go actually into that bone and separate it just like that. And I can mess around with this and take the bone out to make it boneless, skinless if I want, but I like that bone in it. That bone is gonna really release all of its juices and make for a nice juicy chicken. So there you have it, you guys, your 8-piece breakdown. You got your 2 nice juicy chicken breasts, you got your 2 wings, your 2 legs, and definitely your 2 thighs.